Hello everyone and welcome back to our excavator series, and in today's video we're going to go through the pre-operational checks you should be doing on a day-to-day basis on one of our 3-ton excavators for hire. Follow this procedure every single day before you start work to ensure that the machine is working correctly and is safe to use. Now if you find any faults during your checks, you need to get in contact with your local depot immediately so they can be resolved and we can get you up and running as soon as possible. Let's get started. To start with, we're going to do our visual checks of the machine. Starting at the bucket, checking for any visual damage, checking any of the hoses and the hydraulic rams for any leakages. Working all our way around, checking the cabin, checking that any of the glass on the machine is not damaged and there's nothing clear and obvious. Coming round to the rear of the machine, checking for any visual damage and also checking the tracks either side as we go by to ensure there's no damage on those either. And finally down the other side of the boom, down to the bucket on the excavator, doing all those visual checks. Once we've finished those, we need to do our levels and our fluids checks, which we require to go to the rear of the machine to open up the service hatches. Around to the rear of the machine, what we're going to do is double check our oil and our fuel filter, which you'll find under this service compartment. Underneath here is our oil, and then we can see our fuel filter there is nice and clear as well. Once you're done, you can close this service hatch and we'll move around to the next one to double check the air filter and also the levels of the coolant. Next service hatch is on the right hand of the machine, and in here we've got our coolant levels, which is up here, our air filter, and finally our hydraulic fluid, which you'll find down the bottom down here. To correctly read the hydraulic liquid indicator, it should appear as shown on the screen right now when the boom is in the service position as shown. Now we've completed all our engine checks, we can get ourselves into the machine and do our final pre-start checks before we get starting with the work. To do so, we can open the cabin door and ensure that it locks into place. And now we can use 3 points of contact to jump ourselves into the machine to get started. Now we've just got into the machine, we need to double check that the seat belt's working correctly, which you'll find on your right hand side. Once you're satisfied that it works correctly, unbuckle it so you're still able to do your final checks, which is to double check your beacon and your operational light found on the outside of the machine. To do so, you're going to need to put the ignition of the machine on. So pop your key into the ignition, turn it to position 1, drop your left armrest and ensure that the beacon light and the headlights are turned on. Lift up your armrest and exit the machine using 3 points of contact. To correctly start the machine, you can follow the tutorial that's in the link in this description or by clicking the card that is attached to this video above. To conclude the pre-operational checks on this machine, ensure that all the grease points shown in this video are adequately greased. You will find the grease gun underneath the operator's seat in the cabin of the machine. And there you go guys, those are our pre-operational checks for one of our 3-ton excavators here at WHC Hire. If you come across any issues when doing your pre-operational checks, then please get in contact with your local depot so we can ensure the machinery is safe to use before you go ahead with your project. Thank you ever so much for joining me in today's video, and we look forward to seeing you in the next. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.